Only 1 week left. Hi, folks, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the D.Bell Sports Podcast. I'm your host, D.Bell, and today we're going to be talking about the NFL, Week 17. Only 1 week left, and of course, the last Monday night game was played. Great game. We're going to talk about it. The Washington versus Atlanta. But let's dive into it. Cowboys versus Eagles, of course, because I'm a Cowboys fan. Got to talk about it. They swept us. They got us. It was total domination, and it was terrible. Cooper Rush did not play his best game. 2 interceptions from Cooper, including a pick six. I don't know what it is about the Eagles, but he just can't beat him. He can't beat him with Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee or Gardner Minshew last year or Jalen Hurts. And Jalen this year and then Kenny Pickett and then Tanner McKee, it doesn't matter. Shout out to Tanner McKee for getting not only his first NFL touchdown pass, but 2. He got 2 on us, which is, unfortunately, a testament to how good the Eagles are. They didn't have Jalen Hurts going into the game. Kenny Pickett had some injuries, but he still played. Ultimately, he had to exit the game, and Tanner McKee came in, and man. But I don't know what to say. Congrats to Tanner McKee. We will not have a winning season now officially. Hopefully, we can beat Washington next week. But man, we're playing for pride. But our team is hurt, and we're looking forward to the draft. Green Bay and Minnesota. Green Bay lost to the Vikings again, this time by 2 points. Gruesome loss going into the postseason. The first half was all Minnesota. The second half was all Green Bay. They just couldn't get it done. It's so weird, right? It's like in the narrative of who can knock off the best teams. Like who's going to beat the Chiefs, who's going to finally beat the Vikings. So interesting how we all come to that narrative. But I think Green Bay is personally looking pretty good still going into the playoffs despite the loss. Jordan Love threw no picks in the game. Darnold threw 1. Green Bay running backs Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson each got a touchdown. Malik Heath scores his first career touchdown, which also just leans into the just leans into the narrative, the actuality that Green Bay has tons of receivers. They balled out, but only Heath caught a touchdown pass. They have so many. They have so many young guys that Jordan Love can relate to. I mean, they're going to be fine offensively. Plus, Jordan Love's not throwing picks. That's good. That's good for him going into the playoffs. And having played the Lions twice, they lost. And having played the Vikings twice and lost both times, they probably want to really beat those teams. So anyway, I'm looking forward to the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs. Lions and Vikings will be fierce. Commanders are going. I don't know what they're gonna do. You know, there's some teams. It's like you never know what'll happen, but I don't know if certain teams can do it in the playoffs. I know, like, if I can stare at it and say that Packers and Vikings are gonna do something, along with the Eagles on the AFC side. Bills, Ravens, Chiefs. So Washington versus Atlanta, last Monday night game. Congratulations to the Washington Commanders for securing their first 11-win season. Oh boy, since 1991. That's crazy. I went live to follow that game yesterday, and it was incredible. It was down to the wire, overtime win. Michael Penix Jr., you're the real deal. If he's a star next year, I don't think you guys will have any problems. He's had to ease into it, but of course, tried to ball out at the same time the last few weeks to get into the playoffs. I'm not sure Atlanta can get in now because the Bucs are ahead of them by 1. They do have the tiebreaker, 1 game left, but I see the Buccaneers winning their last game, so I don't know if they're going to go. Kyle Pitts. Okay, yeah, Michael Penix Jr. is good. Kyle Pitts catches a touchdown pass in the 4th quarter to tie it up. But Jaden Daniels throws one to Zach Ertz in overtime. Okay. Final score 30-24. Jaden Daniels did great. Threw a pick, though, but Zach Ertz and Olamide Zaccheaus were the leading receivers. Zaccheaus used to be on the Falcons team from 2019 to 2022. So this is kind of a revenge game for him, and he was with the Eagles last year. So back-to-back so-called revenge games. It's like, I'm going to prove myself. You should have kept me, and I love it. He's balling out for him. Seahawks versus Chicago. Seahawks win 6-3. Great. Oh, boy, what a great game. I'm not going to talk about. Bucks beat the Panthers. Quack, quack. And Chiefs beat the Steelers. So Chiefs clinched the number 1 seed, which we all knew was happening. They played the Steelers. Yeah, Christmas Day. Steelers. Wilson gets an interception. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren each get over 70 yards rushing. George Pickens back from injury, 50 yards on 3 catches. For the Chiefs, running game was off. Hunt and Pacheco combined for 38 yards. That's it. And the passing game was on point. Hollywood Brown, 46 yards on 4 catches. Also played against the Texans, got 45 yards. That was his first game back after suffering a clavicle injury before the season. Side note, I was initially thinking, I'm not sure if this will be a good addition, because maybe he's an older receiver who is injury prone. Kind of like the Julio Jones situation, Tampa Bay in 22. Tom Brady calls up Julio and says, "Want to help us ball out one more time?" So I don't know. But Julio Jones tore his PCL that season. He had a hamstring injury with the Titans in 21 as well as 2020. So he had more of an injury history. Hollywood Brown is younger though. He's only 27. In 2022, he fractured his foot. It's a little different than a hamstring though. And he has been fairly consistent in his career and played well in the postseason with the Ravens. So if he's truly good to go, then and he's been back a couple games, then the Chiefs can definitely take advantage of his skill set. And perhaps this is an opportunity for him to get his Super Bowl ring and help the Chiefs get their 3rd in 3 years. Of course, Kelsey, 84 yards and a touchdown, hasn't lost a step. He's going to be elite in the playoffs. Xavier Worthy, 79 yards and a touchdown. Very nice. Go Longhorns. And Justin Watson, 60 and a touchdown. So he has weapons. Let's not pretend that he doesn't have anyone to throw to. Denver loses to Cincinnati in overtime. So many overtime losses. Could have clinched their place in the playoffs. Yeah, they're out on the cusp. They're in the hunt. Instead, the Chargers do. They get a playoff berth. Denver, you're 9-7. You're so close. That Week 18 game against the Chiefs is looking real important. I think they might sit Patrick Mahomes and put in Carson Wentz. But it'd be great for the Broncos to go to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback, get some good experience. Bo Nix did well, 24 out of 31 for 3 touchdowns. Did have an interception though. Joe Burrow, over 400 yards. Been on fire lately, so good job to Joe. Man, Marvin Mims Jr. was the leading receiver for the Broncos. 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very nice. T. Higgins was the leading receiver for the Bengals. 131 yards and 3 touchdowns. Incredible. Someone wants a nice big fat contract next year, huh? Can't even say it's a contract year and he's balling out because he's been very consistent in his career so far, getting over 1,000 yards twice. And he's close to doing it this season as well. And he's done quite well in the postseason for Cincinnati. So that's great. Speaking of the Chargers, the hype has been real, but it's been a real roller coaster at times. You have a good coach, you have a decent quarterback. J.K. Dobbins has been outstanding. He was hurt, but he's actually activated off of IR for the game. 76 yards and a touchdown. Ladd McConkey was outstanding, 94 yards and 2 touchdowns, getting the most out of Quentin Johnston. They really are, and just beats the Patriots 40-7 to clinch a playoff spot. So great. LA barely beats the Cardinals. Yeah. Kello Witherspoon gets a game sealing interception from Kyler Murray. at the goal line as Murray attempts to get the ball to Trey McBride. It bounces off his helmet, and Witherspoon dives for the catch. Very nice, very valiant effort, and he gets it. Outstanding. The Rams are still fighting, of course, but good coach, good quarterback while he's still there. The Rams could do some damage in the playoffs. I don't know if they'll be able to, but maybe go all in on the draft while you still have Matthew Stafford. Maybe draft his replacement, but your window is closing. Tennessee and Jacksonville. Oh, I need to take a breath for this. Jeez. Well, I guess someone has to get the better draft pick, right? Who would have thought they'd both be in this situation? And with Vegas winning the week before, they actually worsened their draft spot. Crazy. And poor Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence once again dealing with injuries this season. Will Levis is also dealing with an injury, so it's Mason Rudolph versus Mac Jones. But congrats to Jacksonville for the win, and congrats to Tennessee for the better draft pick. They're currently number 2. Speaking of draft picks, Drew Lock has decided the Giants were going to score 45 points on the Colts. Jeez, what did they do to you? And mess up their tank. The Giants were the only 2-win team, but no more. They defeat Joe Flacco, the Joe Flacco-led Colts, 45-33, who now do not go to the playoffs. And at least Drew got a win in one of his starts this season. You gotta get at least one, right? Didn't hurt that Joe Flacco threw 2 picks, and Malik Neighbors had 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. Incredible. Just incredible. He's going to be a great asset for their next quarterback, I tell you. Patriots now hold the number 1 overall pick, so it'll be interesting to see if they trade with another team. Desperate to make a big splash, make a big change, so that team can move on up. But thank you. Thank you to all my supporters out there. Thank you, my Patreon members. You guys are awesome. I picked up several subscribers in the past day. 4 subscribers and 3 from the game. So thank you so much. Your support has been incredible. My next video is probably going to be a reaction to the Cowboys-Eagles game and then dropping the 1962 Dallas Cowboys season. So thank you so much for your support, your likes, your comments. Being on stream, it's so very helpful to the channel. Thank you so much. And one week left. And go Cowboys.